As a quick introduction, I'm joined here by Shankar. He's from the specialist team and he specializes in the cost and usage report. And my name is Ramon Lopez. I'm a principal solutions architect. I specialize in the QuickSight product. We're going to cover today some interesting topics on the cloud intelligence dashboards, and we're going to do some deep dives, do a custom demo, cover a variety of subjects that are very interesting, I think, and hopefully you'll find them interesting too. Here is our agenda for today. So we're going to be covering, first of all, Shankar is going to cover kind of what's new in the cloud intelligence dashboards. He's going to focus on highlighting the new dashboards that have been released, as well as providing a kind of a summary of what the cloud intelligence dashboards are. After that, I'm going to go ahead and do a demo of some of the new dashboards that have been released to the Cloud Intelligence Dashboards framework. I'm going to cover some quick customizations of a dashboard. In particular, I'm going to create a quick report leveraging Gen BI. And then we'll talk about upgrades, we'll talk about costs, then we'll have a few minutes for Q&A. And yeah, we had a lot to cover in this session. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Shankar, and he's going to cover that first bullet point there. Thank you very much, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, and thanks everybody for joining. My name is Shankar. I'm a worldwide FinOps specialist here at AWS, and I'm here to introduce you to the Cloud Intelligence dashboards. They're a set of QuickSight-based visuals that help accelerate your FinOps journey. To set some context, let's talk about why cost is an important metric, right, and how FinOps can help you create that cost-aware culture. So it's no surprise that cloud spend is growing, and it's projected to total over $678 billion this year, and with 27% of it with waste on average, right? So it's not surprising either to see many companies prioritize cost optimization opportunities, right? Because FinOps does lead to revenue growth, as it can unlock optimization opportunities which can be reinvested towards growth opportunities, right? So it's very important to understand cloud cost as a metric, and cloud cost is an important operational metric, right? Cloud costs have become decentralized. Engineers make architectural decisions today with the click of a button. Those decisions become purchasing decisions, right? The scalable and variable nature of cloud spend bring flexibility, but at the same time, it make it super important to track costs very closely, right? Cloud cost should be treated as an operational metric, much similar to availability, reliability, scalability, and other operational metrics that goes into building products and features, right? And if you take a look at any workload in the cloud, right, every architectural detail that goes against the well-architectured principles like security, reliability, operations, performance, sustainability, they all find their reflection in the cost. And Dr. Van Vogel's talked about it, reInvent, and I'd encourage you all to look at the Frugal Architect website that he created. He talks about how cloud cost is a non-functional requirement today, right? And like I said, like all these metrics find their manifestation and reflection in cost, and vice versa too. By deeply understanding every detail of your cost of your workloads, you can identify opportunities to optimize and design an architecture of your applications, so that you can create this deep understanding and awareness of your costs. And that's what FinOps is all about, right? Let's take a formal definition of like what FinOps is, right? So um, the FinOps Foundation defines FinOps as an operational metric and cultural practice that creates, maximizes the business value of cloud. It enables timely data-driven decision making, and it creates financial accountability through collaboration between engineering, finance, and business teams. So as you can see, it is a joint collaborative effort, and you need tools to bring these different stakeholders and people together to be able to achieve these FinOps. And Cloud Intelligence Dashboards is one of those tools that you can do. It's a set of QuickSight powered visuals that we'll talk about, right? But before we proceed, it's important to understand that FinOps is not just cost optimization, right? Rather, FinOps is about organizational alignment. You have different stakeholders who require different sets of data, different decisions to make based on the data. So you need to create cost visibility and awareness on that. You have, KPIs and performance tracking that's needed. And you need to, you know, kind of democratize the data to bring together all these stakeholders to give make data-driven decisions. And there's also cost and usage optimization, right? But FinOps is a combination of all of these things. It's not just cost savings that usually people think when they talk FinOps, right? FinOps is the enabler of cost-aware culture, right? You have these different stakeholders. There are different phases in FinOps, like inform, optimize, and operate. And it operates in phases, which each phase focusing on building that comprehensive framework to make data-driven decisions. You can be operating at various levels of maturity within each of these phases, commonly referred to as crawl, walk, run. To know more about these, you can check the FinOps Foundation website. There are a lot of capabilities within, but the Cloud Intelligence dashboards, some of you might be familiar with it. So the Cloud Intelligence dashboards you'll see today are a means to accelerate that path to FinOps maturity, right? Typically, when FinOps practitioner starts looking at cloud cost and usage, they start with AWS Cost Explorer, and then set some anomaly detection to look at cost spikes and things like that. It set some budgets and controls to make sure that they align. You take a use of purchase option recommendations like reservations and savings plans. You might want to take a look at right sizing recommendations and wasted resources using AWS Compute Optimizer and Trusted Advisor. Or they might also go deep dive into the raw billing data using AWS cost and usage reports, right? So, and if FinOps practitioner might be an individual looking at it, or it could be a team that is trying to analyze the cost and usage of their cloud, right? But like we mentioned, FinOps is not just about the FinOps practitioner. There are a lot of other stakeholders, right? There's finance and procurement. They might be looking at consolidating not all spend to make sure that they can leverage that to get some discounts, right? They could be product owners who are interested in what's my cost per feature, what's my cost per customer. There are engineering leads who are looking at it from an application perspective. They might be asking questions like, how does my application revenue application cost compared to my infrastructure cost and revenue and things like that. And executives are looking at things like unit economics, right? Is it making sense? How my growth trends across the business, right? Moreover, it's not just looking at these costs in isolation, right? You have to bring in your organizational taxonomy, like your cost centers, business units into picture. And there are business metrics that are involved because you need to look at your cost and usage in terms of your business metrics to make those data-driven decisions, right? So it would be great to have a tool that kind of combines all of these, because as the adoption increases, you might have multiple payer accounts. You might be wanting to look at deep dive information, and having access to these tools is great, but you need to have something that kind of brings all of these together, all of these stakeholders together, all of the data together to be able to look at it. And that's where the cloud intelligence dashboards come into play. right? It answers all of these questions, and it brings these decision makers to a single pane view that they can leverage to make those decisions, right? So what are the cloud intelligence dashboards? They're QuickSight powered dashboards that are super easy to use. We take the complexity out of your cost and usage report and provide over 200 plus visuals out of the box. You can have consolidated view across your payer accounts. They are secure. So no third-party agent running. Everything runs within your accounts. They're super in depth because not only do they provide summary level visualizations, you can also dive deep into individual resource level details to be able to um, provide that information to engineers who need to take action on cost optimization opportunities, for example. And they're also super cost efficient. There is no additional cost to use these dashboards in general, apart from what the underlying resources that these dashboards use. And Raman will talk about some of the costs later in the presentation today. So a little closer look at the cloud intelligence dashboards and how they are built. We have different data sources. The primary data source is the AWS cost and usage report, but we also augment it with different services like AWS Compute Optimizer, Trusted Advisor, cost anomaly detection, budgets. You can bring in config and inventory data. You can also bring in third-party sources like CSVs and things like that. We typically have a way to segregate these as like foundational, advanced, and additional based on the data source and the level of detail that these provide. All of this is consolidated into Amazon S3 and queried using Athena. Um, and then the business intelligence tools that powers these is Amazon QuickSight, right? And this is where you can bring all your stakeholders together using these dashboards. So everybody is looking at the same data, kind of like creates that data democratization, and then we all can take decisions based on that. Like I mentioned, we have foundational, advanced, and additional dashboards. And these serve like these different stakeholders, right? The foundational dashboards use the AWS cost and usage report, the CUR report, and they vary in detail. Like the cost intelligence dashboards provide some pretty high level charts. The KPI dashboards provides summary of 19 different KPIs that you can track. They run across modernization, coverage goals, um, and other metrics that you can track and to get started with. And a lot of our customers have found this super useful to start with the KPI dashboard, measure where they are at, and then take appropriate action based on those goals and tracking progress. And then Kudos dashboards, by far most popular dashboard, provides both um, high level summary level details, but also goes into each of the services with resource level granularity. And there are advanced dashboards like the Compute Optimizer dashboard, Trusted Advisor dashboard, and we have a new Graviton opportunities dashboard that I encourage everybody to take a look at and install it and use that. So these dashboards serve different stakeholders. That you can see here doesn't mean that finance and procurement should only be using the foundational dashboards, and security and SRE should only be using the advanced, but it just provides a guideline on who different stakeholder, what are the various use cases that most of these stakeholders will find very relevant when they begin their journey to use these dashboards. Some of the additional dashboards that we have, we also provide ways to bring in information from GCP and Azure. There's also a marketplace dashboard. We keep listening to customers, and then we keep updating these dashboards and introducing new dashboards. We have had several of them in the recent few months, and Ramon is going to demo some of these. later today. But before we go to the demos, how these dashboards help getting to that cost-aware culture is what drives the power behind this, right? The FinOps metrics, you know, are treated as similar as just another operational metrics that teams need to monitor and optimize. And engineers can actively look at FinOps opportunities using these. So all these elements actually constitute a good cost-aware culture. And using these cloud intelligence dashboards, you can actually accelerate that path, right? Because these provide access to all of the different stakeholders, right? Solution architects can use these dashboards to make their design decisions. And engineer and finance can collaborate together. And using the KPI dashboards, you can measure, you can not only know what to be done, you can also celebrate success and wins because you can track your progress against those goals over the past few months and see that you have saved X amount of dollars, or you've increased your adoption of modern stacks and things like that. And using these dashboards, FinOps review becomes a part of your application lifecycle review, right? So using these dashboards, you can actually drive that cost-aware culture. And you don't have to take my word for it, right? We have had several customer success stories, and I just want to share a couple of them. Cvent is event management software, and they've used the cloud intelligence dashboards to save over $3 million. There's a link to the case study, and what is important here is you can see that they've used these dashboards to drive that cost-aware culture. Like I said, FinOps is not just about saving money, right? It's about creating that culture where you are transforming your organization into a data-driven organization, and that leads to growth. That leads to reinvestment opportunities and growth. Similarly, like Dolby, they regularly use the cloud intelligence dashboards, and I really love the quote from my graph. He said he gets all the functionality they need and much more at the cost of a few pizzas per month, right? It's super cost efficient, but super detailed information that they've used to look at some of difficult things like data transfer costs. It's not easy to understand them, but these dashboards make it easier to analyze things like data transfer costs. There are some resources here. There's a QR code for you to get started, but there are also links available. There's a workshop. These dashboards are self-service. You can install them, and you can also reach out to your account team for assistance with deployment or other questions. We have a YouTube channel with a lot of useful videos on how to get started and how to customize and things like that. All right. I think with that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Ramon, who would give a demo of a few of the dashboards.
Excellent. Okay, continuing here. So these dashboards, they do two things. They provide not just an insight into what existing EC2 and Graviton usage you have today, but it then tells you what are the opportunities, what EC2 usage do you have today that by upgrading to Graviton, you're going to have considerable cost savings. And the dashboards are just like all the other CID dashboards, easy to use and easy to find these opportunities. And it's not just EC2, it's covering EC2, RDS, OpenSearch, and Elasticsearch. So it's broad, it's not just on one service, it's all the services that have this Graviton usage opportunity. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and flip my display, and we're going to look at a live demonstration of some of these capabilities. So first off, all of the implementation of the CID dashboards can be executed and it's documented in this workshop studio that that we shared the link for. So if you have any questions, this is where you're going to find all the good info in terms of how to deploy, FAQs, other customizations, etc. It's all found here. And we also have some demo dashboards for you all to explore. The first one that we're going to look at here is that Graviton dashboard. You'll see that we have 4 different tabs, one for EC2, RDS, Elasticache, and OpenSearch. So you can drill into whichever type of compute that you're looking to optimize. And the first section of the dashboard will cover what is your actual usage today, Graviton versus Intel. And then it's going to compare the two and show you any previous savings that you've had. But really where the meat and potatoes is here is taking a look at what are those opportunities that you have. And this is quickly highlighting to me that I have around $667 of potential savings at target coverage. We define the parameters for that target coverage. We can see further down the breakdown of what's already in Graviton, what's eligible, and what's likely ineligible, and the reasons why. Now, if you want to dig into specific instances, if you scroll down to the bottom of the dashboard, you're going to find this neat little pivot table with some filters where you can either filter on the instance type or look at them all. Look at it by account ID. You see the different instances, and then you see what the possibilities and savings are at the very granular level by upgrading to Graviton. So again, this is all really exciting in terms of being able to maximize the value and taking advantage of the new technology that we continue to deliver. In addition to this, I want to cover quickly a few other dashboards. So we have the news feeds dashboard, which I think is really interesting. We publish a lot of information into the market, whether it's what's new, articles, blog posts, videos, security bulletins. So this dashboard was built and it's included as part of the framework to give you insights into that, be able to search for specific content, be able to set up alerts and notifications on content that's of interest. And it's got a high-level feed summary. You can dig into the what's new. You can filter for specific services. So for example, if you're curious on, hey, what has QuickSight done over the last few months? I'm able to go ahead and filter on QuickSight and you'll see all of the new what's new announcements with the new features that have been released over time. And this is going to apply to blog posts. We have all the YouTube videos as well as our security bulletins. So again, this is a one-stop shop for all of that AWS knowledge that's out there on the internet that you can slice and dice and find what you're looking for. In addition to the news feeds, we also have the health events dashboard. So this is the authoritative data source for the events and changes that are affecting your cloud resources. And it's able to integrate with over 200 services to aggregate the important information that you need to monitor your applications and what matters to you. And you'll see here that at a high level, it's going to show us, what are the current events and pending events, any future events closed, and the total. It tells you when it was last updated. But as you scroll down, you'll see here how you have a listing of all the events by service with some scheduled for impact resources, timelines, as well as the ability to kind of filter down. So for example, let's say that you're using Glue and you want to see what the impact of this, RDS, and what the impact of this service was. You see that there's 37 resources that are using RDS. So let's dig into that. I can go ahead and click on that row. It's going to filter down and give me a breakdown of all the different services and specific resources that could be potentially impacted by this event that's happening. Combining this with the alerting module in QuickSight could be very powerful because let's say that you're a product owner and you want to receive alerts on specific service outages or service events that are happening for the products that I use in my application. I'm able to filter down my dashboard and set up an alert based on those specific services that matter to me. Again, so I can be notified if something happens and take action as quickly as possible. So again, this is another really cool dashboard, again, giving you more insight and leveraging the features in QuickSight to make your life easier. The last one I wanted to quickly cover here is to me, it's really interesting. It's called the Focus dashboard. And what the focus dashboard is in being aligned with the FinOps Foundation. It's a global foundation for financial operations optimization. And it's built leveraging open source specifications, defining very clear requirements for cloud vendors to produce this type of consistent cost and usage analysis. The CID focused dashboard, which is currently in preview, is an open source and customizable dashboard that again provides these predefined visuals to take action on insights from this focused data. And taking a quick look at the dashboard, to me, one of the most powerful things is how dynamic it is. But first of all, seeing information at a high level, looking at in this case, we're looking at effective costs over time. But in alignment with the FinOps Foundation, we are able to change how we look at the cost. So we can look at effective cost, we can look at list cost, contracted cost, build cost. These are common terms that are defined by the FinOps Foundation that that standardize the analysis of cloud costs. This is again really, I think it's really important that we are aligning ourselves with the FinOps Foundation and not just providing the AWS perspective, but also something that can be used by organizations that maybe are on multiple clients or are aligned with that FinOps Foundation. Okay, very good. So those are the four quick dashboards that I wanted to cover. And then I wanted to just talk a little bit about kind of customizations. In terms of customizing your CID dashboards that you've implemented, there's common things that our customers are doing. These common customizations are covered in the workshop studio. So whether you're looking to implement role level security, maybe you want to programmatically apply role level security based on tags, you're going to find a variety of different solutions that you can implement to allow those different personas that Shankar was describing to see the data that they're supposed to see. So the product owner sees only the cost for their accounts and their services, and everyone sees what they're supposed to see. Next, we have integration with SSO. This is a very common request in Enterprise BI, but for some FinOps organizations that are leveraging QuickSight that are not using QuickSight, this is that first step to simplifying access to QuickSight through the org. We can leverage tags and cost categories. You can integrate with your own business mappings and organizational information. You can add your own business metrics data by modifying the data sets and the queries that are behind the scenes, feeding all these dashboards. And finally, chargeback rules. There's every organization manages chargebacks and cost allocation in a different way. This framework is going to allow you to customize and tweak the dashboards and apply any custom business logic from your organization to the reporting to simplify the life and that transfer of information from the team that's managing the technology to the accounting team and allocating costs accordingly through the organization. So as part of the demo, what I'm going to show right now is I'm going to show two things that are important. So I'm going to access my QuickSight account here. And the first thing I'm going to show is something really basic, but it's a very common question. Apologies for the printer noise. It's a very common question. It's like, how do I modify my dashboard? Once I've created my dashboard, I'm not seeing the option to modify. So how we do that is by opening up the dashboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a save as. We're going to save the dashboard as an analysis. I have a save as button here. Many of you might not have that save as the first time you load the dashboard. So how do you enable that save as button? Very easy. Just click on the share button, click share this dashboard, and you'll see here how there is an allow save as option per user that you need to enable. So go ahead and enable that allow save as, go back to your dashboard, refresh the page, and you'll see the save as button right here. Click on that, give it a name, and it'll transform this. It'll create a new analysis that now you're able to edit and tweak to your heart's content. So that's the first thing I wanted to quickly show here is how do you save a dashboard. The next thing I wanted to show is how can you create your own kind of custom dashboard on the fly. Let's say that you have a specific need and you want to send some executives a dashboard every Monday with the last month of my analytics cost data. So I wanted to filter on a few specific services, and I just really want weekly costs by resource ID, by item type, so that executives can go ahead and take a look at this weekly report and scan through and see what's happening in the analytics services consumption. So we're going to go ahead and build that really quick. We're going to leverage some of the new generative BI capabilities in QuickSight to create that dashboard pretty much with natural language text. So I'm going to go ahead over here. I already kind of started the process. I have here a analysis created with one chart on it. In this analysis, I've also added some filters. I have filters that are going to apply to all of my visualizations. And I have filters, for example, for the product. So I'm filtering down for Glue, Lambda, Athena, Redshift, and RDS. Those are the key services that are applicable for the analysis I needed. I have a filter on usage state, so I'm looking at only the last month. And I also wanted only rows with greater than 0. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create some of these visualizations. Again, I mentioned I'm going to use generative BI to do that. Yes, I am. So I'm just going to click on this build visual. I'm going to type in what I want to see. In this case, I want to look at daily cost by product name in a line chart, and I'm going to click build. So this is going to go ahead and suggest a visualization. In this case, we have kind of exactly what we wanted. We wanted to look at that daily unblended cost by day and product name. So I'll go ahead and click on analysis. Fantastic. You'll see how it's filtered down to those 5 services that I selected previously. And I'll do some quick editing here to make it look a little bit better. First, I like to put the legend across the bottom. Cool. So next, we're going to create another visualization. We're going to create a detailed pivot table. And I want this pivot table to include a few core pieces of information. So I wanted to include product name, unblended cost. I wanted to look at it by week. I want to look at the resource ID, and I want to look at the item description. So I put all that in the text that for my build a visual interface. And you'll see here how I created this pivot table. Great. I'm going to go ahead and click add to analysis, and I'll do some minor tweaks to it. I'm going to first make it a little bit wider. I'm going to change my pivot options. I want to leverage that hierarchy layout, and I'm going to move my weeks to the columns. Great. And I'll give this a little bit more room. So here we see a breakdown by product, by resource, and by item description. So I can see at a very granular level, who is consuming which type of cost by week, by resource, by account. Excuse me. As detailed as possible, you're going to find that data available here. But hey, I want to get this report out to my boss every Monday morning. As the week starts, I want him to be able to review him or her to review the previous weeks of data. So to do so, I'm going to leverage our pixel perfect reporting capability. I'm going to quickly duplicate this analysis that I've created, the sheet specifically, into a report. Fantastic. I don't have to do any other editing. What I will do is I'll add a text box across the top, give this a title, and call this Analytics Cost Breakdown for the last month. Right. Let's make this landscape so that it looks a little bit better. So I can change my sheet layout to landscape. I can give as much space as needed to these different visualizations. And now I'm able to publish this as a dashboard and then create a schedule for it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the publish button. I'm going to make sure that all my sheets are selected and added, and I'm going to click publish. So now that I'm on a dashboard, a few quick things I want to highlight. So first of all, let's say that I want to look at an executive summary. I want to see what's happening here at a glance. I can click on build executive summary, and we're going to leverage here large language models and our insights engine and our custom models to pull out insights from each one of these visualizations, highlight them in text on the top right hand side, and with a kind of a drill down method, if I click on any one of these sentences, it'll take me to the chart where it's pulling those insights from. Cool. So I see, some high level information in terms of the highest cost on July 9th. I wonder what happened on that day. We see lowest cost. We see the percentage increases from the previous day, and some highlights on Redshift and Glue and RDS, which are the highest costing services in the application. Now, we talked about sending this report out via PDF to management, so it's very easy to do. I've created that pixel perfect sheet. I'm going to create a schedule for that sheet, give it a name. More importantly, I'm able to choose how often I want this report sent out. So I'll do weekly. Let's say I want it sent out on Mondays at 6 a.m. in the morning, starting next Monday. And I'm going to choose who will receive this. So I can go ahead and I can add any users that I would like to add to the schedule to be sent out. I can choose how I want it sent out. Do I want it as a download link or a file attachment? Do I want to include any CSVs or Excel sheets? So maybe they want to include that big pivot table at the bottom in an Excel format. I'm able to add Excel. I'm able to select that pivot table. And then I'm going to create a schedule that's going to send this report on a weekly basis and share it with everyone involved. Yeah, so that was a quick live demonstration I wanted to do here in terms of saving a dashboard and saving a dashboard as an analysis and tweaking it, or creating a brand new dashboard from scratch, leveraging some of the generative BI capabilities, taking a look at the executive summary, and creating a schedule to distribute not only the PDF, but also the Excel with that detailed data to the users that I need to get that data to. Take a quick look at the PDF as well, so you'll see how it downloads. And the key thing about this PDF is, obviously it includes a header and the footers that are added, but that pivot table in the middle is going to continue paginating throughout, showing all the details of the costs incurred in the time period selected. But wrapping up here, I wanted to kind of quickly highlight, hey, how much does this cost? And the bottom line is that it's a quite effective solution and cost-effective solution. So here we have a simple example. Say you have 22 days in a week. Say you're using 100 gigs of spice. You have 3 authors, 15 readers. Cost breakdown for this type of deployment, it's going to be between $100 and $200 a month. And there's also a 30-day free trial of QuickSight. So if you want to explore this and at no cost, you're able to launch QuickSight for 4 weeks, for a month.